So, and pulling up the, let's do intake. So the reason why we have it structured like this is you want to get information that's on the 1003, but more importantly, information that's not, right? Some people will refer to it as like page 5 of the 1003. There's no page 5, but page 5 should be everything that should be there. And so, current future goals and time frame, not on the 1003. Why do you want to buy? Again, not on the 1003. Concerns, financial issues, not on the 1003. All extremely important to understand from the client's perspective. This will be on the 10. Some of this will be on the 1003, like how much they're paying in rent, what's their current housing payment, is tax and insurance included. You need to know all this, but you need to know more than just what's on the 1003. So kind of getting back to what I was referring to previously was I'm seeing so many companies that are just trying to be as technologically advanced as possible, and they just send the application, the client fills it out, they try and get as little documentation as possible through automation, they quote a rate term and go. It's just so inappropriate for that to happen because the consumer doesn't even know what they're doing 99% of the time. And even if they think they do, right, they're missing out on a lot of opportunities. So being able to ask the right questions is going to help you with your situation is not ideal, or it's good, or it could be, but it could be better, and here's how it could be the best. So when you're going through this, understand that some of these things are going to cross over. Right? Annual income and expectation over the next 5 years, absolutely a 1003 item. Right? Next 5 years, not a 1003 item, but you want to know what they're making, and then you can just ask, oh, and where do you work? Okay, great. How long you been there? Right? So you can actually, build it, finish this up. Maximum comfort level for monthly payment. Again, not on the 1003. Really important to know. Credit score, monthly debts, obligations. These should match what come when you do the credit profile. Liquid and retirement funds, definitely a 1003 item, right? But even more important, what is that going to look like, and what's the emergency fund situation? Current age, right? And you can ask for birthdays right then and there if you'd like. Health insurance, obviously not on the 1003. Not on the 1003, not on the 1003, not on the 1003, not on the 1003. This one obviously is important to know. Do they owe any taxes, or do they have any supplemental taxes coming up if they're California? Generational wealth planning, not on the 1003. Again, not, right? So at this point, I know credit score, I know income, I know assets. So at the end of this, what we teach our team to do is don't give someone homework. I don't know about you guys, I hated homework. I would always do it at the last minute, right before it was due. And, it was, I wouldn't have done it at all if it wasn't due. And so clients are oftentimes in similar situations. You have to understand, especially now, we need to protect the psyche of the home buyer, right? We need to motivate the home buyer. We need to remove speed bumps or roadblocks that will challenge the home buyer towards becoming a homeowner. And if you give someone homework, it's like telling them to do their taxes on January 1st. They're just not going to do it, right? Until they find a home, or until they really feel like, okay, like now we're going to buy a home, which would then be too late. You want to help them get through the front part of this thing as easy as possible. You want to help them do it in a manner where they feel like it's as non-committal as possible. So the scripting we use for the end of this Dreams and Goals call is, Mr. Smith, thank you so much for all this information. And this is where I kind of use the 2-path script. And you guys can come in here, just type in 2-path, for God's sakes. Val and Melissa, if you guys can, we just need to, I know the 2-path script was in the previous one. We just need to title it correctly. But essentially the 2-path script, and we'll update it here after this call, is ensuring that the client knows they can come at this from 2 angles. So Mr. Smith, based on everything you said, it sounds like, this is a really great time for you to buy a home. Now we can go 2 ways on this. One, we can have the consultation, right? We can do the pre-purchase consultation without a credit profile, without a full application, without you sending your documentation. And that will help you really get a high level overview of what's possible, right? It's not going to give you much detail. We're not going to, we're not going to get into a situation where it's, you can write an offer immediately and really take advantage of it. So it's more of a learn and figure out if this is something that you want to do, and then we can go ahead with the application and then start that process. The second part of it would be, do you want to come in and really understand everything that you can do, like down to the dollar? Most of our clients want that. Even if they're not really ready today, they still want to know what today would look like. And so if that were the case, then we would just finish up the credit profile. We would, collect your documentation so we know exactly what you do qualify for. And then we can figure out, is now a good time, or, should we plan for something 6 months, a year down the road? So do you have a preference on what do you want, just kind of the high level overview, or would you rather know all the detail and really come up with a good plan? Most people will pick the latter, right? Most people will want the detail. So if they say they don't, they just kind of want to learn and they're not quite ready to submit documentation and do the full credit profile, great. Like, don't force them to do that. Like, that is our job as art of homeownership professionals, is to help people get the information they need to then become comfortable. That's one of the things that, if you're a mortgage professional on this call, your real estate agents should absolutely love working with you. Because of the fact that they can, I just clicked that link that you guys sent me and it took me to this forbidden page. Not sure why that didn't work, but your realtors should love you because they can send you people who aren't ready to buy a home yet, with no sales or no bias towards it. And more often than not, the people who aren't ready going into that consultation come out of that consultation ready to buy a home, right? Because you've walked them through the education, you've shown them the cost of waiting, you've shown them the rent versus own analysis, you've done the TCA or MBS highway presentation for them. You've really given them, the same mortgage payment that they saw online that scared them. You talked to them, you showed them how that same payment would be actually financially irresponsible if they didn't go do that. And it just takes that intention. Sorry, I got to turn my phone off here. Being able to give someone a path where they don't have to have their credit ran, where they don't have to submit a bunch of documentation, is incredibly important, which is why being able to ask all these questions on the Dreams and Goals call is really important, right? Because it's as close to a 1003 as you're going to get without the difference. Now, let's go to the latter part of that. And let's say the client says, you know what? Yeah, actually, I do want all the details. I do really want to know. And because you've already told me, Ryan, that it's okay if we don't buy a home and if we don't move forward, I still want to know the detail so we can decide and make a good decision. And then I would just say, awesome. So Mr. Smith, if you have like 5 more minutes, I'm just going to finish doing your credit profile questions. And then, we'll get you over the documentation. Yeah, great. Like, you've just been talking to her for 20 minutes. Spend the extra 5 and just round out the application. So I see here you make, X amount of dollars. Is there any overtime, blah, 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 blah. And what's the address of the business? How long you've been there? And then your home address is, because again, you already put the home address here in the first page, right? So we already have your primary address. How long you lived there? You have a 2-year history. Great. Assets are in. Now, what's your date of birth? Give me your social security number. Good. Your application's done. Right now, you can have your, if your production partner is doing the Dreams and Goals call, they'll want to just make sure it's a complete application. If you're doing it, again, make sure it's a complete application. But it's not that many more questions after you've done all this, and it will absolutely set you apart from any other application they've ever taken. And you guys have heard me say this hopefully 1,000 times, which is the questions you ask will differentiate you from the competition, right? And if they've gone through it before, ask them what their experience was like, and then apologize if they went through that experience. What was your experience like in your last pre-approval? No, I just filled out an online application, sent in some documents, and they gave me a pre-approval letter. I'm really sorry that happened. Why? Because no one actually cared about you in that instance. They just cared about selling you a loan, right? Because I can't really tell you what type of mortgage you should get, what type of purchase price, what type of down payment, what type of monthly payment, if I don't know a lot of really important questions about what you want to do now into the future, and there's a lot of things. So I'm going to ask you some questions now that are probably going to be unique if you've gone through this before, but by the end, you'll really see why and how important they are. So any questions about how to integrate the client intake call, dreams and goals call with the application? And then lastly here, what you'll see on the slide is use the client intake script to empower someone else to facilitate the call. So we're going to kind of move into the team building portion of this, but I was a firm believer, I was a staunch advocate that I had to do that initial phone call. I was, I think I was doing about 15 loans a month back at that time. And I was always the guy who did that first phone call. I thought it's incredibly important to figure out, like, it's part of the sales process. Like, it's got to be me. It doesn't. We did 56 loans. We helped 66 families last month, and I didn't talk to one of them, right? But the key is the person who is taking that call needs to understand why they're asking the questions. It's kind of why we did that puzzle piece training a few weeks back, right? Where I said, you have to get the financial puzzle pieces, and then you have to then put the puzzle together for them. All that person's doing is collecting the financial puzzle pieces, and then they give it to the mortgage advisor or the team leader or whoever the originator on the loan will be, and that person, or the production partner too, which we'll get into, will actually put those puzzle pieces together, and then they'll go deliver the information. It's the same reason why a doctor doesn't come in and take your vitals, right? And take your temperature and do your blood pressure and weigh you and all that stuff. Like, the nurse takes that information, then gives it to the doctor, and the nurse asks you all the questions. Hey, how are you feeling? Blah, blah, blah. The doctor then has all the medical information to go deliver medical advice. This is not dissimilar to that, right? You just need to understand where your role lies. And so empowering someone to do that initial call, full well knowing that they're going to then see, you as the team leader or originator or, mortgage advisor, is actually really empowering, right? I mean, if I was a client, I'd feel good about it. I'd be like, okay, well, I saw Darren set a comment here. Like, if I'm talking to Darren's production partner and the first thing they tell me is, hey, I'm going to ask you some questions here, and then we're going to schedule a time for you to meet with Darren. By the way, when's a good time to do that? I want to make sure I get on your calendar, blah, blah, blah. And they kind of keep referring to, okay, when you meet with Darren, he's going to go over this. And so I'm getting built up, like, can't wait to meet with Darren, because it sounds like I have a lot to learn, because nobody's asked me these questions before. And nobody has told me why these questions are important in the home buying process. But now that I know, and I'm waiting for Darren to come in with his amazing medical / mortgage advice, right? Now we have something to be excited about. Any questions about that? Who should do that call? How to train somebody to do that call? Anybody? All right, we're moving on. And if you do have a question, type it in, I can go back to it. But so now getting into team building. So we've done a lot about team building over the past year, and probably especially over the last 6 months. So now what we want to get into is not only the roles on the team, but who does what in regards to art of homeownership on the roles on the team. So everything here, production partner 1, production partner 2, LOA, LO, all that stuff. They are, all the job descriptions are in the thing here, or in the e-learning platform. This would be loan coordinator in our world. So hopefully everybody knows what a production partner 1 is. Right? Production partner 1 is the front end of the transaction. They manage the, I'm just going to call them mortgage advisor. Could be team leader, could be loan officer, mortgage originator, mortgage professional, all the same person, right? In our world, we call them mortgage advisors. So the mortgage advisor is the team leader in a group that is doing roughly 20 to 30 transactions per month. They have a production partner 1, a production partner 2, a loan coordinator, and the mortgage advisor. So that 4-person unit can be able to do about 30 transactions a month, or help 30 families a month. Production partner 1 manages email, manages calendar, does any and all lead outreach, lead follow-up, agent updates, making sure that everybody is communicated with on the front end quickly, manages the CRM, takes the full application, collects the documents from the client and follows up to get the documents, and then pushes that file over into loan coordinating to be pre-approved. So production partner one is really just a go-getter, right? Someone who is hungry, somebody who has good detail-oriented skills, and ultimately that person wants you want to empower that person to be the person that takes the dreams and goals call. So a really good production partner one will be phenomenal at connecting with the client, doing the dreams and goals call, asking the right questions, scheduling the consultation, and they're going to talk about art of homeownership in relation to art of homeownership in that first phone call. So the scripting would be something along the lines of, "Hey Val, now this is Ryan. I'm the production partner for Darren McClellan's team, and what we're going to do here today is I want to learn as much about you as possible, what some of your goals are with your home purchase, and then we're going to schedule a time for you to meet with Darren in the upcoming days. Looking at your calendar real quick, when's a good time to schedule that call or that consultation with you and Darren? Thursday at 5. Great, it's on the calendar. So I'm going to ask you some questions here. When you were referred to us, or when you found us, or however they came to us, were you aware of what makes us unique and different? Did the realtor who referred you tell us kind of about our unique way of helping our clients? No, not really. Well, essentially, our goal is to not just sell you debt. Unfortunately, most people in the mortgage industry kind of just sell debt. We are very much focused on helping you kind of from a holistic financial manner. So I'm going to ask you some questions here that, and by the way, have you ever been pre-approved before? Yeah, I was pre-approved about a month ago. How was that experience? Kind of like what I just said, blah, blah, blah. And you say, oh, I'm really sorry you went through that. Let me tell you about ours. We're going to ask you a lot of questions you're probably not used to being asked, especially compared to your previous experience. Not because they're required for you to qualify, but it's because we really need to know that information in order to give you the best advice and guidance possible. And then one of the things our clients love most about us, or why we're one of the number one teams in the country, is we actually help our clients for 30 plus years in a very proactive manner. Because if we just gave you a loan, then you would own a home, that's no doubt. But with our guidance and our follow-up and our Art of Homeownership platform, we actually help you become a really successful homeowner. And there's a difference between just owning a home and being a successful homeowner. We want to help you be the latter. So Darren's going to go more into that with you in the consultation. There's 7 different services we provide, some in advance of the transaction, some during, most for well beyond. But he'll go through all that with you. But right now, I just want to ask you some questions so we can go ahead and get started. And then they jump right into it, right? So that's your production partner one's intro to Art of Homeownership. They could get a little more detailed if they like it. Though obviously, if the client has questions, they say, "What do you mean?" or "Can you explain more?" You need to make sure that the production partner one has that information to be able to give that context. Any questions on production partner one, that first kind of call, how they segue that? No. All right. So in the event that the client doesn't move forward, so they don't qualify, they say, it's now really not a good time, blah, blah, blah. If you know that they're not moving toward the transaction, the production partner one should go to your Art of Homeownership site and they say, you know what, Mr. Smith, no problem at all. We totally understand, it may not be the right time. What I want to do, however, is I want to get you signed up on our Art of Homeownership platform. You own a home, this is why you need it. You don't own a home, this is why you need it, right? They just need to explain it. So you're going to get an email that says, welcome to the Art of Homeownership. Here's all the things we're going to help you with. So you're going to get our normal follow-up kind of cadence from us to help you between now and the next 6 months or a year, whatever your time frame is. And you're also going to get a ton of value and benefit because we want to really help you understand how to be a really successful homeowner when that time comes. So keep an eye out for your Art of Homeownership stuff, and looking forward to having you as a member on that platform with us. So that would be kind of where a client who's not transacting forward, that's how that production partner one pushes them into Art of Homeownership, along with your normal CRM follow-up and your cadence there. Any questions on that? Okay. So again, from a workflow perspective, assuming they are moving forward, loan coordinator gets the file, reviews credit, income, assets, guidelines, runs AUS, makes sure everything looks good, sends it back to the production partner one, production partner two, and mortgage advisor. Everybody on the team knows Mr. Smith is pre-approved for what he's looking for. Good luck with the consultation. Let me know if you have any questions. So at that point, the production partner two is prepping the analysis, right? So they prep the TCA or the MBS analysis. They are, gathering the information. They're making sure that they're putting the puzzle together for the client. And then they go to the mortgage advisor, 20 minutes before the meeting and say, okay, you're about to meet with Mr. Smith. At this point, the mortgage advisor doesn't even know Mr. Smith exists because it's just on the calendar. But he's going to say, here's the goals, here's the notes, here's what he wants to do. Loan coordinator said he's pre-approved for this. Everything looks good. Here's the 3 different options I worked up for him, and this is how it looks. Go knock him dead. Mortgage advisor goes in, delivers the pre-purchase consultation the same way that you guys see here, same deck, same everything you guys have access to. If you're not familiar with that, just go to pre-purchase consultation. Just go to consultation. Consultation, did I spell it right? Contract meeting. All right, so Val and team, we need to make sure the consultation thing is titled correctly as well. But you guys do all have the deck for the pre-purchase consultation and how to deliver that to the client. And a part of that consultation, which I'll show you here. Move this over. So this is the deck that you guys would all be able to see. But when you get to the end of it, as you're going through the client consultation here, you want to, well, first of all, you talk about how Updater is going to start when they go into contract, but then you're going to get into post-closing management, right? And this is where you can go in here, you can have your own link, you click on it, and it would take you to your Art of Homeownership page. So again, this is where the mortgage advisor is going to deliver this content in that strategy meeting, right? You're really going to talk about Art of Homeownership because again, the whole context is you want when you do the post-closing call or when someone on your team does a post-closing call, you want that client, when you ask them, why did you use us? Like, what was the reason? You could have picked any lender. You want them to say, we used you because you committed to us for 30 years and nobody else did. Right? Like we understand that we're going to become more successful as a homeowner because of what your commitment was. That's why you need to go over it in that consultation. Otherwise, people are going to say, oh, because you had the cheapest rate, or because you matched the other offer, or you guys had good customer service, or because the realtor just referred you and I didn't shop with anybody else. None of those are good reasons why somebody used you. You always want it to be because of your value proposition. So that's what you do is from the consultation there. Again, communicate the value, leverage the platform. Should their role be any different than yours, team lead, broker owner? So again, the team lead is really managing and making sure that everybody on the team is doing their part. So we talked about delegating the initial dreams and goals call. What skill sets should this person have in order to facilitate the call is one of the questions. The skill set for the production partner 1 to do that initial dreams and goals call is a high I and a high S. So if you're looking at kind of a DISC profile, someone who has empathy, somebody who can connect with clients is why the high I is really good. The high S because they follow systems and they run a CRM really well and they take good notes. So if you find a high I, high S, kind of a mid to low D, decent C, that is a really great production partner 1. And then obviously that person graduates to production partner 2, mortgage advisor, so on and so forth. And that's how you can grow the pods on your team. So at that point, in order to train them, they just need to shadow you on those calls, right? So ideally you're doing those calls via Zoom. You can even record them, assuming the client's okay with it. Or, if you're not doing it via Zoom, if you're doing a regular call, loop in your production partner 1 and just have them listen, if they're not in the office with you. But that's really how that person is going to feel confident in getting the training and hearing the objections, hearing the feedback, hearing the challenges, hearing the answers to some of those questions and how you pivot through those. So important information for that person to have. Another question was, what information should they take to the LOs so they're prepared to make the best decision for the consumer? So this is really, again, it all depends on how many people you have on your team and kind of how that team structure is or how many transactions you're closing. But all the data that they collect, all the kind of financial puzzle pieces, should be put into the notes, and the loan coordinator should do the pre-approval, the production partner two, or yourself if you don't have a production partner two. You're going to be the one taking all that in. And that's why it's really important, if you go back and look at one of our previous trainings, which was asking the questions is half the battle. Knowing what to do with the answers is the other half the battle. And that's why it's so incredibly important that all of the Art of Homeownership partners are highly educated in estate planning, in taxes, in insurance, in retirement planning, personal income and wealth, generational wealth planning, investment properties, tax allocations of those. And if you're not confident in a lot of that stuff, we have all those things in the eLearning platform. We've brought on estate planning attorneys and interviewed them. We've brought on financial planners and interviewed them, CPAs. If you want more of that, or if you want it live so you can ask questions, email our support team and we can bring on more of those people and give you all the information you need. Now, I'm not asking you to go pass your CPA license test, right? Or to go get, your Series 7, right? Or to become a CFP. I'm just asking you to know the basics. And that's where the waterfall effect kind of comes into play. Know where people need to be in terms of their personal finance and how this real estate decision or how to finance this real estate will actually play into that decision making. Your production partner two should be really well versed in that, especially if they're going to graduate towards a mortgage advisor. But that's where, putting those pieces together is important, and understanding the advice and guidance that you really should give, because that's going to separate you. Just being an Art of Homeownership partner does not mean that you automatically or by osmosis just become this amazing advice giver. You need to do the work, right? And that's what we're here to help you with. So if you need help with any of it, please let us know. So obviously the transaction goes through. When the client goes into contract, ideally you'll have a marketing coordinator of some sort. And maybe I should pause here and just let everyone know, you really want to try and control the economics that you're in, because if you're just on a standard kind of comp plan, like 100 basis points, 150 basis points, then you're going to have to build everything into that number, right? You're going to have to build a marketing coordinator in, production partner one, production partner two, loan coordinator, post-closing manager, which we'll get to here in a second, business development manager, all the roles that go into a team, production manager. So if you don't have, the revenue from like a pro forma or P&L perspective running a branch, it becomes challenging to do this. Not impossible, but thinking through kind of the iteration of your business, being able to own the revenue to be able to then, pay for all these things is incredibly important. And, when we tell our clients we're going to be the most valuable person in their life when it comes to real estate and finance, we need to be able to back it up, right? And so we need infrastructure to be able to back it up. We need systems. That's why you guys are all Art of Homeownership partners to begin with. So ideally, you'd have the marketing person trigger updater. If not, then maybe have your production partner two trigger updater, or your assistant, or whomever you have. You would trigger it if it were to happen, right? So you just go into your updater account and put in the client's information, trigger it. That way, the last thing you want to do is have someone get to the end of the transaction and realize that they didn't get to use the relocation technology. So just having somebody to trigger that and letting you know. So in our team, we do a contract meeting every time someone goes into contract, and part of that contract meeting is letting them know that the relocation technology is going to start, and we'll be able to, educate them as to how to use it, what it means, but just flag that. So when we send a contract meeting calendar invite to the client, we include our marketing coordinator, and she just knows, okay, I just need to trigger this because this is a new contract meeting. So she'll go in and she'll get it triggered. And then the transaction goes through, post-closing call happens, right? And this is where, if you're a team leader and you have mortgage advisors that are handling the business that you're generating, right? You're kind of focused on leadership and lead generation, then it's great for you to be able to get back in and do the post-closing call. One, because it is a great QC moment, right? It's a great opportunity for you to get feedback from the clients, ask them why they ultimately used you, see how the team did, educate them on the next 30 years of your relationship, right? Really, I did it for 2 years when I was as the post-closing guy. Like I didn't work with the clients up front, but I would do every post-closing call, and I loved them because, people were like, wow, I can't believe you guys are going to do this for me for the next 30 years. Like, that's pretty awesome. And some of the conversations I've had were just mind blowing. People were like, "Why do you do all this? Nobody else does it. This seems amazing." And to be able to answer that honestly is one of the best things that you can experience. But over time, you may get to a point in the growth of your career or the infrastructure of your business where that may not be in your highest and best use. And that's where the post-closing manager would step in and take that. But let's assume you're doing the post-closing calls for the right now. I promise you, maybe 1% or 2% of you or any other mortgage professional or real estate professional will actually do the follow-up, right? The 3-month post-closing call, right, where you actually say, "Hey, look, I know your head stopped spinning, hopefully by now. Let's talk about, maximizing tax benefits. Let's talk about making sure retirement planning is still strong now that you're a homeowner and you kind of understand the budget. Let's make sure that you're properly protected in every aspect of insurance. Let's make sure that, you have a estate plan or protection in place in the event of something happening. And let's really work through the generational wealth plan." Like that 3-month follow-up call is amazing, right? Not only for the client, but for the growth of your business and your realtor partners' businesses. And then you get into the 6-month call, right? Which is the perfect mortgage promise. That's when you let them know how you're analyzing the mortgage. This is the first opportunity to use a higher valuation if they just bought the home. And then you're going to get into and each one of those calls, the post-closing manager is talking about Art of Homeownership, saying, "Hey, look, I just want to make sure you're using it." And you can log into your HomeBot account and see if they're actually looking at it. You can check and see if they've used House Appy. You can, make sure that they just know all of the services. And then again, you tell them, "Hey, the annual financial review is coming. This is why it's so important." So at this point, they've connected in any payment related items, right? Making sure that if servicing is happening by somebody else, they know on the post-closing call that, you're the point of contact or the team is the point of contact. And then the annual financial review, obviously incredibly important. It happens every single year. It's just people are not good at looking forward and back at the same time, right? That's why we don't have eyes on both sides of our heads. As originators, we always look forward. How can we grow the business? How can we grow the business? What new partners, what new clients, what new marketing? And we don't realize that our biggest asset is behind us. It's all the people that we've already helped. Those people will repeat and retention with you at a higher level than anybody else. They will refer at a higher level than anybody else. They will connect you with their company, with their other trusted professionals, CPAs, financial planners, estate planning attorneys. Like if you did nothing but focus on your past clients, you would likely outpace people who are always chasing shiny objects ahead of them. Right? Like paying for this crazy marketing thing, or this is going to work, or I'm going to post this on Facebook. Maybe do one less TikTok video and one more past client call. But you shouldn't have to choose between the two, right? Like you should do that TikTok video or Facebook video or whatever. Well, you should also call that past client. And this is where having that post-closing role becomes incredibly important, because you can know that commitment that you've made to the client is actually happening. Like we're actually doing those things through a combination of technology, which is Art of Homeownership, systems, which is the CRM within the Art of Homeownership, and your post-closing manager, which is actually, where they feel it the most. And so having that post-closing manager is incredibly important. We not only have one for our team, but we have one, that we created specifically to help all the branches and originators in our region, our division. And so it's just a non-starter for us. Like we're not even a real mortgage company until we have someone that has that role, because the client's just going to be on their own somewhat without it, right? And it's going to be challenging for us to do that. So, we talked about having a marketing person. I would highly recommend, as soon as you start getting to that 15, 20, definitely more than 20 loans a month, like you should have your own marketing coordinator on your team who specifically focuses on your brand, focuses on Art of Homeownership, focuses on how they can, mold those two, how they can push that content out, or take the content that is already being pushed out by Art of Homeownership and boost it and run ads around it. How they can, connect with your database more deeply about the stuff that you're doing, helping you with video content, and then getting into a business development manager. Business development manager, again, around 20 to 25 transactions a month. This is when having someone on your team who helps you grow new relationships, sustain existing relationships, helping you, really get the message about how different and unique you are into the community. So if you're a real estate professional, I don't know if I even met a real estate professional that has a business development manager. I think most have like buyer's agents. They may have some listing agents. They have obviously people on their team, but they don't have anybody out there connecting with local businesses, CPAs, financial planners, making sure that they're working closely with their mortgage and escrow and title providers, their settlement statement people, their contractors. So I think that would be a phenomenal role. I just don't know if anybody has it yet. And so not only for mortgage professionals, but real estate, having that biz dev person who can go out, like, our biz dev person, we do Art of Home, we do like a podcast called Art of Homeownership Live, where we'll bring on CPAs, finance planners, estate planning attorneys, businesses, other originators. So it's really great to have a person that kind of runs that part of your business as well. So I think that kind of wraps up everybody from a team building perspective. Functionally, production partner 1, production partner 2, loan coordinator, mortgage advisor. That 4-person team will get you to 30 units, 30 families per month. And then you just elevate yourself out of mortgage advisor. Production partner 2 goes to mortgage advisor. Production partner 1 goes to production partner 2. And you hire another production partner 1. And then you just duplicate those pods. So that's how the functionality of the fulfillment and conversion works. And then you get into the ancillary things like post-closing manager, business development manager, marketing manager. That will really round out a functional team. And that's not just loan officers. That would be our real estate professionals as well. So before I move into mindset, any questions on team building, who does what, when to hire, any of that kind of stuff? All right. Again, you can put it in the Q&A or type it in the chat. So lastly here, I want to get to mindset. The biggest problem that we all have is we love being the problem solver. Again, hopefully you guys have all read the Challenger sale. The problem solver is one of the 5. There's the Challenger sale, the relationship guy, the problem solver, the hard worker, and the lone wolf. We all kind of like being all of them, really. But it gives us pride. I met with a loan officer a couple weeks back. He was, we were entertaining having him come on to our group, and I just asked him, like, why you? Like, why do your agents use you? Why do your clients use you? He says, because they know that when I pre-approve a loan, it is solid gold. And I was like, man, that's terrible. And I didn't say it out loud. I'm just thinking that in my head. But if your value proposition is doing math, like being right with your numbers, which is really like expected, that's pretty bad. Right now, unfortunately, he's got a point, because a lot of our industry does not do well with that, right? They mess up pre-approvals. They don't look at guidelines closely enough, or they make errors or mistakes. So I can see some value there, but that really is that sense of pride. Is he felt that because he did the work, it would always be right. So the idea of him letting go of that and giving that to a loan coordinator scared the heck out of him, because he was like, well, that's what I do, right? That's why people know me, because I'm in there and I tinker with the numbers and I make deals work, right? And I get deals done that other people can't. It's like, that's not what if that's what you're good at, then let's hire other people around you and you be the loan coordinator, right? But you're not going to be able to bring in more business if that's your gig, right? If that's your deal, you're in there tinkering on a loan the whole time. So being able to let go of really key functions or parts of the transaction is actually a superpower. And you have to not only be okay with it, but you have to strive to want to do it. You have to say, like, almost at an annoying level, I shouldn't be doing this. 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 Now, I want to add a caveat there. Depending on how many families you're helping per month, you might have to do it. Whether or not you should is another story. Right? So if you're 0 to 5 loans a month, you have to do pretty much all of it. As soon as you start getting towards, maybe you could use like a shared branch resource, and I'm not talking about processing, right? I'm just talking about the front 4, right? Mortgage advisor, production partner 1, production partner 2, loan coordinator. in our world, we consider processors, associate processors, all that stuff, they're operations, right? They are more back end. But until you're doing roughly 5-6 loans a month, you just take on a lot of it, which is okay because you have time and energy and the ability to do that. And plus, it helps you. You can't really skip that step because it's hard to hire someone and train them on something that you didn't even know how to do to begin with. So you have to go through the work, right? Do that 1 to 5, but then you have to really be aggressive at moving things off your plate, right? When you hire that production partner 1, give it to them, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to give them the dreams and goals call on day 1, right? They're not even gonna know what the heck what to do. So you have to train them on that aspect of it. But give them your emails, right? Give them your calendar, give them your CRM. Make sure that they're following up with leads. Make sure they know what to say, and you're gonna train them for 2 to 3 months until you really feel good, getting, kind of letting the leash go. And then be really, then you start getting yourself to 10 to 12 transactions. Hire that production partner 2, right? Make sure that they know everything. And then really all you're doing there is pre-approving files and meeting with clients. And then you start getting to 16, 17, 18 loans, hire that loan coordinator, right? And then you're starting to get to 24, move that production partner 2 into mortgage advisor. Just constantly get things off of your plate because you cannot and you will not grow your mortgage practice. And if you're an art of homeownership professional, real estate or mortgage, you deserve, your clients deserve and your community deserves more of you. What I mean by that is you need to let more people know that you're changing the real estate and mortgage business, that what you do as an art of homeownership mortgage professional even exists because they don't know right now. So if you're just constantly in the weeds and you're thinking, man, I'm changing the mortgage industry. Well, you're changing it for a few people, but because you're not delegating enough and you don't trust people enough, you don't give them enough, your perfection is your biggest enemy, right? It's your biggest enemy of progress. Then you're going to struggle because not enough people are going to know you're changing the industry, right? You and a few select others will be the only ones. So work your tail off to get to 5-6 transactions a month, higher, 10 to 12, higher, 16 to 18, higher, and then elevate, and then bring in your ancillary people, bring in your marketing person, bring in your post-closing manager, bring in your biz dev manager. It's simple math. But it's not simple if you hire these people and then you keep doing all the work. Well, first of all, you wouldn't even get to the point. Like, there's a reason why the average originator in the country does about 3.2 transactions per month. And the average real estate agent, I think, is a half of a transaction per month, if even that. And it's because we try and own it all. And then we own it all and we get good at it. We get enough, but then we don't hire. And then we kind of fall back down because we can't go generate more business. And we have this roller coaster of generate business, close business, generate business, close business. And it all has to do with letting go and empowering and training and trusting. And that's when you move into the leadership. And if you're going to ask yourself a question, look back at the first quarter, which was, just ended 2 weeks ago, and ask yourself, how did I do on leadership? How did I really do as a leader to empower my people, to train them, to make sure they had the same vision, to make sure that we're all rowing in the same direction, to make sure that they know their escalation path up the chain so they don't feel like they're working in some sort of a dead end job. So really do everything you can to get whatever you're doing today off of your plate tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Any questions on that? On delegation, empowerment of others, leadership, training? Anybody want to share or be vulnerable as to why that's challenging for them? One thing I'll say is you may have tried it and it may have failed you, and you may just be hesitant to try it again. That typically means you probably just either hired the wrong person or didn't have the right onboarding in place or didn't have the right systems or infrastructure or job responsibilities for them. More often than not, when someone doesn't work out, it's less about the hire and it's more about the leader / trainer, because they expect more out of them than that person is actually trained to do. And then they get frustrated. They're not doing it. Well, you shouldn't have them doing that to begin with. So that's what I think is so great about what we're doing here at Art of Homeownership is we're not just giving you the platform, but we're helping you understand who to hire, what they do, how to pay them, what their next step is, because that's the real power. Like art of homeownership is a beast. We know that, but the more people you have to delegate to, the more it becomes an amazing tool for you. If you're just kind of stuck in a place, it's going to be hard for you to really experience it. All right. So lastly here, can you guys still see the mindset shift? I want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen here.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to show you this marketing video we had created. We'll send this out to everybody. We have 2 other ones as well, one for loan officers and one for real estate agents that we're having some edits on, but I will show you guys this here. Let me know if you can hear it, Val, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Congratulations, the home is officially yours.
Not to break up the happy home buying party here, but can we get a reality check on what just happened? They did sell you your dream home, but they also landed you the biggest liability of your life, with no instruction manual included. Kind of scary, right? Practically anyone can own a home, but few of us become successful homeowners. The problem is we've been expecting the same thing from our realtor and mortgage lender for about the last 100 years. They help you find a home, they help you buy a home, then you're on your own for the next 30 years. Oh, except for every Thanksgiving when they send you a pie. If you're lucky. At the Art of Home Ownership, we know that as life changes, so do your real estate needs. And to become a successful homeowner, it's not as simple as signing a few papers. It's an art. The Art of Home Ownership, helping you make smart decisions about real estate now and in the future.
So we are going to push that out to all of you, and the goal is to generate leads with that. So obviously we're going to update the end of it to ensure that it's people can get to your site. You can use it on social media, and so it'll say connect with me today, so on and so on. So obviously we can't make it for everybody, but the key is for you to be able to push that video out to your sphere, to drive ads around it, to really show the community what's in store for them if they use an average real estate or mortgage professional as opposed to an Art of Homeownership real estate or mortgage professional. So we're excited to push that out to you all. We'll get some of the other ones out, and we'll be able to help you guys. Again, the purpose is just to gather more people, right? Get more people in your database, get more people aware of who you are, what you do, what makes you different, what makes you unique. And then there's one for real estate agents. Again, there's one for mortgage professionals. If you're in a recruiting mode as a mortgage professional, real estate professional, both really great to use as well. And hopefully you guys get a lot out of those. So we have about 5 minutes left. I'm going to open it up. Darren, yeah, if you want to share, go ahead. Can we open up Darren?
Yeah, give me 1 sec. I'm trying to find him here. It doesn't look like I can. Oh, you're the host, Ryan. So can you unmute him?
Yeah. Participants.
If you go to
attendees.
panelists.
Yeah, I got it here. All right, Darren, you're up. Darren, you got to unmute yourself, I think.
How's this? Is this better?
There you go. Yep, got it.
Okay, I was just going to share for anybody on the call a couple of things. One is, definitely using the platform. Obviously, initially it can be overwhelming because there's a lot to it and there's a lot to learn. But definitively, our conversion has gotten so much better from initial client to closing. I mean, our ratio of closing has dramatically improved. But what I would say, just in terms of our journey is, it's not necessarily easy to do all this stuff, but as you implement these things into your business, and particularly for the newer people that have joined, I can just tell you that it's totally transformed our business, and it's given me a really clear path to have the business that I want to have. And and it's putting me in the direction of where I want to be going. And so I would just say for anybody that's newer and or those that have been on the platform for some time, the more you can implement, the better outcome you'll get. And now I'm starting to use PP1, PP2, loan coordinator. So we've implemented that into our team. And once you get all those things firing, it's a total game changer in terms of both productivity, organization. So it really, obviously I'm biased because I've been on the platform for a while now, but I can tell you that our business has totally transformed as a result. So I just want to encourage everybody to keep with it, particularly the newer people on the call, and start implementing these things, because it will, free you up and give you that work-life balance that you're after, that so many people, including those top originators, don't have. So happy to just share that with the group.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that feedback. Yeah, I think the key is just, you did the work, right? You didn't have these people in place previously. You put them in place. It freed you up. You were able to delegate. That allowed you to do more. You hired a biz dev person, right? They're now doing a lot with it. And so it's exciting. I'm super happy for you. And thanks for sharing that. Let's say Jan has a question. Hi, Ryan. How much in terms of percentage of origination do you normally incorporate for each position? Percentage of origination do you normally incorporate? I'm going to open you up here, Jan, because I'm not sure what you mean there. Go ahead and ask the question if you don't mind. You have to unmute yourself.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing?
Good.
Good. Yeah, in regards to just for example, production partner one, usually, assuming, I don't know, let's assume you make a certain amount for each loan, whether it's 200 bips, 170, whatever it is. Production partner one, are you going to try to allocate, out of $2,000, $200, or, and then production partner two, ballpark, obviously, you're not doing profit sharing with them, but what should you estimate in regards to percentage?
Yeah, it's a great question. So production partner one in our world, we're in Orange County, keep in mind, so cost of living is going to be a little bit higher. So I would say adjust the salary and the bonus based upon your cost of living and what you think. Ultimately, my rule of thumb is you always get what you pay for, right? So if you're trying to pay someone pennies, you're going to get pennies worth. Find A players and they will always pay for themselves. And Darren Hardy taught me that a long time ago. And it's very true, right? So in our world, we pay about a $4,000 base so a month, so $48,000 a year for a base. And then we pay anywhere from $50 a file up to about $250 a file based upon how many files that team closes. And it's on a kind of a tier base. So the more they do, the more that production partner makes. So a good production partner one could make anywhere from, if they're on a good team, could make anywhere from 60,000 to even upwards of 100,000 if they're on a team that just does a ton of business. So really just depends upon, again, cost of living in your area, but I wouldn't make a percentage of your revenue, because then you can't scale that. That becomes unscalable because your revenue will grow and everybody will kind of stay stagnant with it. And so production partner two is just a touch higher, not on base, but in bonus. And then a mortgage advisor, it depends on if they're on your team or if you are the mortgage advisor, right? So you should have, probably around 350 basis points in your conventional business. You should have 400 to 450 basis points in your government business. Probably in anything high balance would be about 220, 230. And so you just need to know what to play with within those margins and then being able to allocate those out.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, team. We are at the top of the hour. I appreciate you all. Thank you for being a part of the community that I believe will change not only our industry, but our society for the better. Looking forward to getting this commercial out to you guys so you can put it out and show people what you're doing. And thanks for being on here today. Looking forward to next week. And in 2 weeks, we have Barry Habib and Dan Rawich on. Super excited about that. So tell everybody in your company or anybody in your branch or anybody you know to be a part of that. It's going to be a fun one. So thanks, everyone. Look forward to chatting with you soon.